Hi, I'm Dr. Sridhar Kalyanasundram, consultant neonatologist. Welcome to my channel. I hope you are enjoying the playlist on basic neonatology. We have had the oxygen series so far. This is the fifth video in the series. We have looked at the basics of oxygenation. We have looked at oxygen saturation monitoring and monitoring of oxygenation in general. We have looked at oxygen toxicity and its impact, and we have looked at in the last video on the labor room management of oxygen. In this video, which is a penultimate video in the series, we have a review of oxygen saturation targeting in the NICU. So we will have a quick review of the historical perspective of the NICU oxygen saturation target, and we will discuss the current evidence as well as a practical approach to decide on oxygen saturation target in the NICU. So since the early 1990s, there have been remarkable advances in neonatology. There is more widespread use of antenatal steroids. Surfactant therapy has become widely available. There's more focus on improved mechanical ventilation, and more so in recent years, gentle ventilation, volume guarantee, and non-invasive ventilation as a focus. In relation to non-invasive ventilation, we have advanced measures of surfactant therapy, including minimally invasive surfactant therapy. We have focus on avoiding both hyperoxia and hypoxia. In the early 2000s, the research focus is on identifying the appropriate oxygen saturation targets in relation to ROP as well as overall outcome. So we had studies, Winton had published from Middlesbrough a retrospective review of oxygen saturation targets in different units, and they showed that units showing wide variation in oxygen saturation alarm limits in the NICU, as low as 70% for the lower limit and as high as 100% for even babies on oxygen. And we had improved outcome in the units using a lower saturation target in retinopathy of prematurity incidence. However, there was no significant long-term neurodevelopmental problem related to that. That prompted many units to look into this practice, and we also had the STARP ROP study in the early 2000s, which looked into relatively higher saturation in relation to stopping the progression of ROP once a baby crosses a certain maturity. And we will come straight to the NEOPROM, which is a neonatal oxygen prospective meta-analysis, mainly led by Professor Askey, as we mentioned in the previous video. We had multiple studies which had a similar goal, and the support study in USA, the CORD study in Canada, the BOOST study had LIMS in Australia, New Zealand, and in UK. We had a total of 4,965 individual patient data which was used in combined meta-analysis. The babies were all less than 28 weeks gestational age, and the low range used saturation of 85 to 89%, and the high range used a saturation of 90 to 95%. The results showed a significant increase in mortality in the low saturation target group, 20% or so compared to 17%, with a relative risk of 1.17, and the confidence interval was significant all over 1. The lower saturation target range was also associated with an increased risk of necrotizing enterocolitis. Retinopathy treatment was significantly lower in the lower saturation target group, so 10% or 11% versus close to 15%. So this is a summary of the results of the NEOPROM trial. So we can see that we have significant p-values in terms of death on its own, and this is mainly leading from the BOOST 2 UK limb and the support limb. And we have severe ROP, which was significantly lower in the restricted oxygen group. We have a slightly increased risk of NEC. This was mainly shown in the limbs of the BOOST 2 trial, and these were the main significant results. So there were no significant difference between the groups related to cerebral palsy, severe visual impairment, deafness, or BPD. The combined outcome was also not significant. So this is a quick review by the team on what the problems were in relation to this. So we had the saturation targeting. So these were Masimo monitors, which were masked pulse oximeters. So they were all showing a 3% plus or 3% minus depending on which limb they were recruited to, and the saturation difference was ideally supposed to be having a 6% difference between the middle levels of both the curves for the low oxygen and the high oxygen group, but in reality it was a less than 3% difference because there was significant variation. There was also a readjustment of the algorithm in the BOOST 2 trials. So the original algorithm was going a little skewed towards the higher saturation, and so they readjusted the algorithm. The revised algorithm is a blue one, which shows a more smooth curve. So the altered slope corresponding to saturation of 87 to 90%. And we had a bias provided tendency to avoid areas of instability due to the masking. So if the baby appeared to be clinically unstable, they used to adjust the oxygen differently. The location of the probe and the effect of transfusions were not looked at separately, and obviously this is the impact of the transfusions, where the hemoglobin F is fetal hemoglobin in the baby who is not transfused, which is a shift to the left, while hemoglobin A relatively shifting to the right according to the volume of transfusion that is received. So we have multiple factors that are involved, and we cannot really clear-cut say that the results are totally reliable because of this aspect, as well as this aspect of readjusting the algorithm. So the American Academy of Pediatrics in 2007 stated that the saturation values between 85 and 95% and PaO2 50 to 80 millimeter are examples of the ranges pragmatically determined by clinicians to guide the oxygen therapy for preterm babies. The European guidelines in the same year recommended a saturation of less than 95%. They didn't specify a lower limit. The updated guidelines in 2010 recommended a range from 85 to 93%, an upper limit of 95% adjusted to 90 to 95% in 2013. So from 2010 to 2013, after the support study results, it was adjusted to 90 to 95%, and this is what majority of the units use currently. So in the next video, we will be discussing the alarm limits related to this. So I hope this is helpful, and we will also discuss closed loop automated oxygen delivery. So thank you for watching this. Do subscribe, do share with your colleagues, and please turn on your notifications so that you'll know when the next video is coming up. Thank you.